Planes and peer brains. Okay, and welcome back. Now, in many professions there are formal qualifications that you can take, and sometimes they are essential, but sometimes less so. Whichever route your team took to get to where they are is fine, but it never hurts to tap into the peer brain. Now, in the aviation industry, it has the most efficient, all-inclusive system I have heard for communicating new learnings amongst its peers. Wherever there is an accident and the investigators are called in, whatever they find the cause of the accident to be is immediately communicated to every airline in the world, so that particular reason for an accident should never reoccur. Now, I've used this method for a number of years at organisational level, particularly when you have a team of people doing the same job. I first learned of it in the automotive industry at a time when steel prices were going through the roof. China had just started manufacturing cars, so the world demand on steel increased sharply. And when demand is greater than supply, prices go up. Now, this was public knowledge. It was in the papers, it was on TV. No one could deny that this was a legitimate issue, and every supplier was approaching us telling us that our prices had to go up because the cost of raw materials had gone up, and we all knew it. Now, the organisation I worked in, who manufactured cars, had 70 plus buyers and senior buyers all getting similar demands from their suppliers. Steel is up 20%. I can't remember what the actual number was. So we need to raise our prices by 20%. It's not our fault. Everyone is in the same boat. It's on TV. So it sounds reasonable on the surface, but some less experienced buyers had already accepted the increase. But when the cost of production increases, someone has to pay for it. Now, you can either pass that on to your customer, and generally customers don't like to pay more for something, or you can take a hit on your profit, and generally businesses don't like to make a loss in profit. Simple version. So now, an experienced buyer would know that if the price of steel increases by 20%, the only way your price should increase by 20% is if you are buying steel. So if you're buying something made of steel, it's only the cost of the steel element that costs more, not the entire cost of the item. So if we were buying gadgets for $10, and the cost of that was $5 in steel and $5 in everything else, production, distribution, sales, marketing, support staff, profits, all that sort of stuff, then the 20% should only apply to the $5 spent on steel. The cost of the marketing team didn't go up by 20% because they're not made of steel. So as most tenders that we use detailed how the supplier's costs were made up, something that we asked for, we could easily see what portion of our total cost was in raw materials, steel in this instance, and from there we could calculate what the actual effect of the increase really was. Procurement 101. Okay, so in this organisation we had an online info share system, just like the aviation industry, where useful bits of information like this were immediately cascaded by email to the whole of the company. And that way, if someone had a great idea, everyone could immediately utilize it in their own work. Okay, now you don't need a sophisticated system to do this, just an email and someone who can coordinate, receive the information in from individuals and cascade it out again to everyone. Simple and effective. Now, I put a partly automated version in at my next company for the estates managers. We had a few hundred properties all over the country. They just filled in a template with their great idea and emailed it to the boss's assistant, and those templates populated a weekly digest with a summary and a link to the main article, which we stored on a shared server, which was then emailed out on every Friday afternoon. Now, sure, it took an extra 5 minutes a week, but the benefits of tapping into the peer brain were enormous. Technically, you could consider that a tool, but it's a great one to share talent. Okay, I'll see you in the next lecture.